activated. Your weekly football fix kicks off now.
You can follow the LFC Total Red Football Podcast on X, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Football podcast with myself, Kings, and joining me tonight is Kev. First off, Kev, how are you?
Oh, good, mate. Coming up to the weekend, so it's always good. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. It's nice to be through in the cup and looking forward back to Premier League action. Hopefully, have a good chat tonight about the Southampton game. I know you were at the game, and we'll pick apart some of the headlines from that, starting with obviously a 2-1 win in the League Cup third round. So obviously there was going to be changes in the side. We expected that, as most do in the early rounds of this cup and the FA Cup, I suppose. What was your thoughts of the changes he made? Any major surprises?
No, it was kind of what I was expected, and I think it's needed with the 5 games that we have had and the level of intensity that we've faced over the last few weeks, including in the Champions League. It was important to give those people who play regularly a bit of time away and not in the squad. So the likes of Mo and the likes of Gravenberch and that, and it gives the opportunity. And it is a squad game. And if you're competing in every cup and in every competition, then you need to use those squad players as well as what you need to. A lot of changes made, but necessary though, because let's be honest, we've got bigger fish to fry than the League Cup. So it's an opportunity for those who are on the fringes and to step up and be part of this, what could be another great season for this club. But some 10 didn't start the game well, and we'll probably get into it. But it was. I expected a bit of it to be disjointed, not as much as what I actually saw.
I find it's difficult when you make a lot of changes at any team, to have cohesion then, because yes, they all play in the same colour and they all play for the same clubs and pass to each other, but it's never that simple because, I think they talked to Chiesa after the game. It is difficult coming in and just being dropped in and going, right, you play in that position, etc. And then he's, I suppose, more experienced, so he's playing against or playing alongside players who he doesn't feature with regularly. So it's hard to just hit the ground running, I suppose, literally, for want of a better expression, I suppose.
No, it was always going to be difficult with that team. That although they were fringe players and some senior players in the time, a lot of the players that played are either on, apart from the likes of Frimpong and Robertson, who are regularly in the starting 11, the rest are either trying to find their form or have just come to the club. And a lot of those players are never actually, apart from maybe in a training session, have actually had a game on the same side. So it was going to be disjointed. However, within that though, I expected some of the senior players to step up and put the mark on it, and who know how we play. So the likes of a Curtis Jones, the likes of an Endo, the likes of a Gomez, the likes of a Frimpong even, although he's slowly being here, and also the captain Robertson as well. And a lot of those players did not step up and produced to the level that we were expecting. And what makes it worse is it's against a Championship club who were languishing in the relegation part of the table rather than near the top. So the emphasis was on us to start well, play well, but that didn't happen. The cohesion, obviously, it's very disjointed, and I get that, but I was expecting a bit more fluidity. We were relying on pace within the game by giving the ball to Rio, and although he done all right at times, we were relying on a 16-year-old to bring fire into the team and a bit of intensity, while everyone else was very lethargic and very lacklustre. And we were very safe with our passes, and we were looking at other players to actually make a pass in between the lines. It never came, so we were going across, back, and it was very negative to watch and very slow building, which then gave Southampton a lot of confidence. And to be honest, they deserved more out of the game than what actually did happen in the game. So but we brought it on ourselves, individual errors. We had Frimpong, who didn't start the game well. Looked as though he hadn't played right back in at all at times within a 5 or 10 minute period, which then leaves an emphasis on a Leoni to come over and try and cover and try and sort that out. But there was no cohesion at all the way through, and the fluidity and that we normally expect, I expected that to be dropped off. But as I say, the senior players should have stood up for me and took it by the mantle and take it forward. There was a few nice little half things. Endo grows in the game. A few of them did grow in the game. But then we were reliant on new players who just only come to the club to have a good performance. Leoni made Gomez look as though it was him who was having his debut, not him. Marmus Philly helped us out a few times when really didn't need to. And end up put us in a bit of, there was an issue with every part of it. And then when you add it together and you're trying to move forward and you're trying to create stuff, with them playing it out to the right on the left-hand side to a kid to try and sort and force something for us. And he done all right. But then what they do, they started putting 2 men on him, and he was fighting a losing battle in a low block team. And that's the problem you got. And then we were always getting counter-attacked, and because we were positionally not in the right position, and there was no leadership within the team, and there's no communication. All it looked like sitting there, and you're thinking, this is far from what I expect, and it was frustrating for me. But it always is with me with the earlier rounds. There's nothing better for me than seeing us go out, to be honest, and we move on. That's and that's probably coming from someone who's snobbery. It's not. It's just the way I just don't like the early rounds of this or the FA Cup. When it gets to the quarters, semis, then I start getting a little bit excited, but I can't get excited until then. And there's always an issue with injuries and so early on, and you've also got the Champions League, so we're playing more games 3 times a week. So it's not very tempting for me at the moment. No. Do you know what I mean? But but it's the quickest one to get to win. To win a cup.
Well, it is, yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans can relate to that. We're saying, the early rounds. I think for any team, it's just kind of like there isn't necessarily the interest there, just because it's like, well, you're so far technically from Wembley, you might get there. And for lots of clubs, obviously, you enter these competitions, whereas the FA Cup or the League Cup, they're never going to get to Wembley. Liverpool at least have a chance of getting there. But I can understand why fans are reluctant to kind of buy into the early rounds of these competitions, because a cold night, watch a Stoke away or whatever. It's kind of what it's like, and it's just you're like, oh, can I be? There's nothing against Stoke, but it's just that's what they use as a barometer, don't they? Can you do on a cold night in Stoke?
I know, but it's the case though, and then you get these teams that are not doing well in the league, and they see this as their cup final in a sense.
Yeah.
And then it puts more pressure on the actual game than what it needs to. Do you know what I mean? And you gone are the days where you get teams just turning up and you can just stumble over and all like that. But we have the squad there to be able to deal with this and cope and manage it. But I expect it to get better as the rounds get better and the quality moves up, which automatically it does with Palace. It looks as though we're going to be playing Palace in the FA Cup as well. I've got a feeling about that as well. So, we're already going to be playing them at least 3 times this season already. So you then meet in Premier League competition, and then, and we're at home. So the expectation is that we will play a few better, not more. It won't be the same as what it was on Tuesday night. I think you'll have a far bigger mix of the main squad playing as well.
Like and subscribe to the LFC Total Red Football Podcast on YouTube.
So I'll just pick out a few of the names. You've said already one of them. Mamadashvili played in goal. He's going to be a little bit like Kelleher, obviously coming in as a number 2 to start with. You know, big signing overall from Valencia, but he's got to bide his time. He's going to play in this cup, probably play in the FA Cup. It wouldn't surprise me as well. So at least he's going to get some game time. But what was he's a big guy actually, and eventually he is going to take over Alisson's number 1 spot. I'm quite sure of that, but hopefully not yet, because I think Alisson's like pretty much the world's best keeper. So don't want to lose him. But what were your thoughts on him overall?
I thought he was good. I thought his distribution was good. Shot stopping is good. He's a massive. He's a huge unit, and seeing him warming up as well. He's got a span on him as well, which is intimidating. It's a bit like going 1-on-1 against Donnarumma. It also automatically puts you in a position of a striker that you're going to have to find the corners with this goalkeeper. So he's got that presence about him, and I thought he'd done well. Done more than what I was expecting to do. Made a few decent saves as well. Made one in the first half, which was a world-class save, and he just done. He done what I was expected, but even a little bit more. So he played well for me. How about yourself? How did you think he played?
Yeah, to be honest, I was impressed by him. Like I said, a big guy in goal, and definitely the future. If he comes on like Liverpool expect him to, playing at Anfield, then I think he's got a very bright future as the number 1 goalie. And as his confidence builds, when he does replace Alisson, and inevitably, I hate to say it, Alisson's probably going to pick up an injury somewhere, and he might get an extended run like Kelleher did, which I don't necessarily want that to happen, but it does seem like over the last couple of years that's happened, and it's getting a bit more often. And I really think if he gets a good chance to get a run of games, then I think he'd be a very worthy number 2 at the moment who could step up, and we'd be glad to have him. So hopefully that continues, and he progresses well. I'll move on and talk about the good bits first with Leoni, the defender, 18 years of age, brought in the summer. How did you think he started, up until when he got his injury? But before that, were you impressed by him?
He was the one I was looking forward to and excited about going to the match on Tuesday. If there was any excitement, it was around him playing rather than anyone else, and it was great to see him. I didn't watch any of the games when he was playing for Parma, but I believe he had Lukaku in his pocket, and the striker Juventus, Vlahovic as well. So to be able to deal with those 2 world-class players the way he did, kind of puts not a little bit of pressure on him, but I was expecting him to use this as a stepping stone. Really, I think the lad has got the confidence to go, well, I think I can do something with this team, and he showed that. Don't get me wrong, he started a bit tentatively with this passing and his distribution, but that was expected. But oh my God, he looks quality. Do you know what I mean? Or did look he did look good. Don't get me wrong, it's against the Southampton side who we're slightly a bit physical. I wanted them to be a little bit more physical, use his physicality and be a bit more dominant. But I think that will come with him. But there was times where he was assisting Gomez to get him out of a sticky situation. His reading of the game looks as though he's got that as well. He's got a bit of pace about him. He uses his height well. His heading, he positions headers, and it's easy to head the ball, but to be able to actually cushion the header or direct the header, it's very, very rarely do you see that. And he was doing that. He's got everything about him, and I can see why the Italian coaches and the Italian press are wax lyrical about that, because he is very good up until that sad moment. But up until then, I thought if there's an issue with Konate, I know it's only against one game, but I'd have no problem with him stepping in and playing alongside Virgil, because
Yeah,
the lad's just gonna. If he gets the positional sense that Virgil's got, by God, we have got an unbelievable centre half on our hands. And I don't know what they put in the food or the drink in Parma, but by God, we need to know what it is. 6'5".
I was going to
18
say he's
years
only
of age.
18 years of age, and yet he come on. I thought he looks like he's about 23, and got experience straight away. It was just he was phenomenally good, to be honest.
He
I
was.
wasn't sure what to expect, because obviously, again, the same as we just said about Mamardashvili, the club obviously rate him enough to go and get him at this young age, and be like, right, okay, we're going to put some trust in you, and you would think that we're going to gradually bring him in cup games, etc. Get used to it, because for the first time, even running out Anfield must be intimidating at that age, and yet he seemed to handle it no problem. And I was really impressed with the lad, to be fair. And then, unfortunately, the injury happened, and as soon as he went over, you could see he didn't move his leg at all. He lay perfectly still, put his arm up, say, I've obviously got a major issue. He knew. And the reports are now that he's damaged his ACL, and he's probably going to miss, if not all of it, most of the season. He might not make the Italy squad for the World Cup next year, which he was tipped to be in. I mean, that's devastating on your debut. It's devastating at any time in your career to get an injury like this. I'm hoping he's young enough. He's got to be mentally strong now instead of physically strong to do this. He's got somebody alongside him at the club in Virgil van Dijk who can basically tell him, what it's kind of like after being assaulted by Pickford. So he can help him. He can actually be a major help to him, I think, moving forward as the captain and as somebody who's had a major injury himself on his knee. But this is hard to get over, and I think he can do it. But it's one of those that I just hope now it doesn't stifle his career, because things change fast in football, don't they? Unfortunately, things, if he doesn't pick up on the schedule that he's supposed to, Liverpool end up going, right, we've got to go and get somebody else. And you've seen it over years, they become a casualty that you don't see him again. I really hope that doesn't happen to him. He seems to have the promise to be a top player.
Yeah, but it's the brutal world of being a footballer.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing about it is he's joined the club and a family that have got Florian Wirtz, who's gone through an ACL at a young age.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez, who's gone through difficult times, and I think he's done his ACL as well. Along with, as you say, Virgil van Dijk. So there's a lot of people and a lot of support that he'll have. Also, he'll have a medical staff that are who are top of the range, and there will be patience, because that's all you have to do for the next, let's be honest, the next 18 months within his career, to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And there'll be things in place that the doctors will, and it'll be a patient progress, and there'll be some ups, but there'll also be some downs along the way. Let's hope there's less downs and he comes through it, but there's enough support within the team and enough who have gone through it, and especially someone as young as what Florian Wirtz is, to be able, and also with Joe Gomez as well, and the difficult times he's had, and being able to be there for him and support and get him through it. It's frustrating for himself, and there will be those moments on his own where he will be thinking about, the World Cup, and he won't be able to be a part of it. And the club medical staff's going, we're not going to risk it. There's no point in risking him back, because as we saw with Virgil van Dijk, we brought him back a little bit early, and it took him a little bit longer to get over his ACL. So there is history there of what we've done. We're not going to do that, but at the same time, the flip side of that is that it may now force our hand to go in January to bring someone in. Now, whether that's Mark Gui, who knows, but there will be an option there where we may have to go in and get a centre half in, because he was classed and deemed as though he was going to be cover for us. That has now caused us to have an injury. We will the club will support him at the same time, though. We need it not to affect our main team and the main squad. So it may mean that incumbents may be needed in January, and that's unfortunately the brutal side of football. But he can get through it. He can mentally do that. The difficult challenge is that he is in another country. So it's the support and the network he's got around him, but also utilising the players that have gone through it before. And I think Virgil will be one of the first as a proper leader of the club to find that support and guide them through it. And that's what you want from the leadership side of the team.
Yeah.
But no, it's sad. It's sad for the lad because what wasn't a fantastic up to that point was the perfect debut you could have as a centre half. And if it's to be ruined by one tackle, just shows you the reason why we do have a squad as what we do. Because that on another night could have been a Konate, could have been a Virgil, could have been someone else, one of our experienced players. Unfortunately, it's happened to a squad player, but that squad player was part of this team. We have to fulfill that fills a void, and who knows, we may see the reoccurrence of a Reece Williams coming back. Who knows?
Well, he was in the squad for this, wasn't he? I did see his face on the TV screen. I just hope, obviously, that we don't get into a situation like we did a few years ago where we took, obviously, two midfielders and dropped them back into defence as a makeshift because we were decimated. I'm hoping that isn't going to happen. But as we know with Konate, he is a little bit injury prone. I mean, you got Gomez, but again, sometimes he's made of glass. It just depends, really. And I would assume we're going to be okay till the January transfer window. But I do feel it puts a bit of pressure on the club now to say either go back to Crystal Palace, and they're going to be, in a way, rubbing their hands thinking, well, he's got 4 or 5 months, 6 months left by then, not a year. They can up the price, where they may have, Liverpool could have said, we'll give you 10 million for him in January. They now know that they're over the battle slightly, and they could say, well, we need double that now. And it's like, I don't know whether Liverpool go back there or if they look at somebody else, which, of course, the recruitment team will, I'm sure, be looking at that already and putting out feelers just in case. But do you think we're going to be okay till January?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I have confidence and every confidence in this squad, especially over last season, where the lack of injuries that we had is one of the fundamental reasons why we were able to win the league. Luck. Some people think it's about keeping those in. Injuries will happen, but it's how you manage your squad in between time. So by giving people the rest as and when you need to is fundamental. And if you know certain players which will know about Konate's injuries in the past, he'll be ensuring that the medical team can ensure that they get through that. Now, however way we do that, that's fine. I don't mind if Joel Gomez comes on for the last 5-10 minutes of the game, because what he done against Arsenal proved that he is good at doing that. And anyone who's alongside Virgil is great. Do you know what I mean? They always play well. So I have no reason why we won't see it till the end, at least till January. But at the same time, though, I just feel that this squad's got an abundance of talents, and whether we bring someone in, the beauty of it now is that we have the academy up there. I am playing alongside or near the first team already, so we'll already have an indication already of who could, and he'll be speaking to Alex Inglethorpe to find out who's ready to be stepped up to replace Leoni. So there'll already be someone already within the academy that they'll be looking to utilise if they need to. That being said, I think it goes without saying, I think they'll already have identified a few people that they wanted to come in, and the plan B, if anything goes wrong between now and January and it's serious, then who are who can we bring in? And if it means we've got to pay less for a Crystal Palace centre half, then so be it. We do it. But at the same time, I have every confidence in the medical team and within the management to gauge us through and guide us through up until January if we need to be. But I don't see us having a significant effect on the actual team. At the end of the day, it'll send a tremor through the club as to what can happen, and there'll be more mitigation put in place so that we don't see or get close to that happening with any of our players. So I have every confidence in that.
You can follow the LFC Total Red Football Podcast on X, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
It's one of those, I hate to say, but when one door closes, another one opens. Now, we talked on, was it last week's show, that Kayes has been left out of the Champions League squad because he doesn't fit in with the amount of homegrown players, etc., and we had to pick and choose. It's an unfortunate circumstance of what's happened. Does this open the door for him? Now, I've read two different reports, so I'm not sure which is correct, but I'm going to read them both out as in he can, if Leoni is classed as he's out for over 60 days, which it obviously looks like he's going to be, then you're allowed to swap out one player. UEFA have brought that in so that you're not obviously at a disadvantage. Yeah. So I've read that, if that happens, if it's decided he's over 60 days, he can be swapped straight away. Others have said you can't swap until January. I'm not sure which is correct, but either way, when the chance comes, do you think this is a space for him to take now, or will they register another defender, maybe like you say, from the academy to try and make up the numbers?
I think you would like to go like for like. That's the way I would do it. That being said, though, I don't think there'll be any harm to put Chiesa in for Leoni until the January one, and then we can then reset the
look at it again,
and look at it again and review it then. So that'll be an opportunity. If it is till January that we do that, then it gives Chiesa his opportunity to prove why he should be in the squad. And he played well against Southampton. But I'm not getting carried away. One day doesn't make one summer, or there's a certain saying that's being said. But I'm not gonna get too carried away with the Chiesa performance against a lower championship side. The onus is on him now to show the consistency when he does play. And it's all right against. It's probably the first time I've seen him play against a lower league side and he looked good. That's the best I can sum that up, because since then the chances he had last season he didn't take, but he's finally growing, and hopefully we start seeing some part of what we saw before he had his ACL, and if he gets up to 70-80% of that kind of player, then it'll be great to see. But take nothing away from that, he came in on Tuesday and played very well and was instrumental in both goals to see us through.
I think obviously it gives him confidence setting up both goals. He did score himself, although it was chalked off. He does seem that every time he plays, he's that little bit fitter. Last year, it seemed to be almost like nursing him through. And I'm not making excuses for him. He could have done better in games. But now he seems to be smiling a lot more. He seems to be happy with himself, coming on the pitch, doing what he can. And I just hope that for him personally, if it starts to come back, like you say, like he had this fantastic reputation, in the Euros and etc. before his injury. Another one who's had an injury, so you can just say to Leoni, listen, as a fellow Italian, you can say, listen, long term, yes, you might have an injury now, but you can come out the other side. So, in a different way, he can put his arm around Leoni and say, listen, been there, done that. do it this way. Let's see, where you end up. But as for moving forward with him, I hope that he does get some more chances, and he proves everybody that he's worthy to be in the squad, at least. But we shall see.
The LFC Total Red Football Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts from. Also available on your smart speaker, or you can watch us on YouTube.
Because of the 2 goals he helped set up, we had the 2 strikers, the 2 number 9s, as Slot is saying. The first one, inevitably, it was going to come sooner or later. It's come very soon, really. Alexander Isak with his first goal for the club against Southampton. I think for most people's sake, that was nice to see that going in, because it's just taken that off his back now. He can kind of not relax so much. We want him to score many more. But at least it's kind of like, right, been there, done that. He can just move forward now and try and get more into the games as he's allowed, with the minutes he's been given.
Yeah. And I think he agreed with me when I said to the lad next to me, he should have scored after about 30 seconds at half time.
Yeah.
In which he said
he said it in the interview afterwards. Yeah. He did say, he went, I should have scored straight away.
Yeah, exactly. So I am, and I'm glad he said that. Taking it away, the chance comes through and he takes it, and you just think, wow, okay, sound. Played all right, but yeah. I don't think the team helped him. There was runs he was making which annoy me with Frimpong, because he's making these runs and he's holding on to the ball, and then letting it go at the wrong time. If he made it at the time he did, it would allow him to get onto the ball a little bit quicker. But that'll eventually come. But it was great. I was surprised he went off for 45. I thought he may have got 60 minutes. That's what I thought. I told Jay, because I work with Jay. We were saying during the day, how many minutes would you give him, or like that, and I thought it would be at least 60 myself personally. And then I thought maybe either Ekitike would come on or Jaden Dance would come on as well. So it was that opportunity. But take it on away, and then it was mad at half time, because then he comes out, and I don't know if they showed it on the actual TV screen, but he was doing sprints straight across, and he'd done about 4 sprints, and he looked absolutely done in afterwards. And I think a majority of that, they were expecting a certain level of intensity within the game, but because it was so lackluster and the game was very slow, he was then sent out to, like, let's get your numbers up here. Like,
I was going to say, they did it in the interview afterwards. We were talking to him and Robertson, and they showed that clip of him doing these sprints in halftime, and they were both laughing about it. And Robertson said, "Well, we don't do that normally. Of course they don't, but I think it was more the case of, like you said, he hadn't hit the and I do feel maybe he should have stayed on a bit long, but he said himself he's never done that before, and it was just a case of kind of getting to the figures that they wanted for that particular run out that he'd had. So by doing that, he just gave him that little bit extra. But I think
the mad thing is cool.
He was smiling. He was happy. He seemed like he was happy with his performance overall. He got a goal. He criticised himself for not getting the other goal early on, and I think he seems to be settling in well. So I'm happy for him, and I just hope that there's more goals to come, to be honest.
I've said before, it's been a while since I've seen a number 9 play for us who's got an aura and a chill factor like he's got, and it's so nice to see. I have no problem. I didn't expect him to hit the ground running. I think it's mad how we've treated the first 5 games of the season as a pre-season for Isak in a way, and you can see that, and I think that's part of the pre-season he's kind of missed. So the intensity that we're looking for, his level of fitness is probably up to where he gauged it should be, but then we've just knocked it up to another level that he's not used to, and he's probably gone, Jesus, I've got to get to this level, and but then to get through the physical game of last week against Atletico Madrid, to a derby game in which he comes on, and then to playing a League Cup game. So initially he's had 3 games in a week, and to get him up to the level that we want him to, we've then said to him, oh, by the way, we now want you to run right across that field 4 or 5 times, just because your numbers aren't even up to where we need them to be. So it says a lot of where we want him to be. But once he's at that level, I just think the goals are going to start coming. And now one's gone in, and that monkey's off. That monkey's off his back. He is just going to start scoring, and it's just inevitable what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's good for him. And the good thing about it is that he's happy to criticize himself as well, which I kind of like, in the fact that he knows how good he is in a way.
If you can,
go on.
I was going to say, if you can see in yourself that you can do better, and you admit that, people actually, I think, take to you more, because they look at you and understand that you may have flaws or you may have mistakes in you. Then you go, yes, but I know that, and I'm going to try even harder to make up for it, and they'll respect you more for it, instead of just going, well, I'm the best, and being arrogant about it. If you can sit there and be like, right, yeah, I do have things I've got to improve on, and I should have scored this goal, or I should have passed there, people will understand it better and be like, right, he's learning as he's going, and that's the best way.
Yeah, and then it's the chill factor for me. It's the fact that when he gets asked in his first press conference, at Liverpool, you hear, and he goes, yeah, so what do you want to do? And he goes, to win everything. That for me says it all, as to his mentality and what he wants, and by God, he will do it, and he will achieve it. But I'm just glad he's a Liverpool number 9, because he's a number 9 that we've been crying out for years, and we've now got him. So, and then you add in the creativity we've got around him. I see Vert and Isak already. I can probably see that being like a Torres and Gerrard link up, the way that's the way I see those two linking up. So I expect that will help Florian to get in. You saw that last week when they were linking up in the Atletico Madrid game. So I have no qualms about that happening, and I expect it to be like that. So, but no, it's great. It's great for the club to have a number 9 like that, who's got the order and knows what he is and who he is. So all good.
Yeah, I hope it continues, and he obviously, as he gets fitter, it becomes far better. The other number 9 striker that we've got, Hugo Ekitike. Now, he scored 5 goals, I think it is already. To be fair, I quite like the guy. He seems to have this attitude on the pitch that I look at him and I think, you know what, I like this guy. He's positive. We're going to talk both scenarios, obviously, from Southampton. The first one, he scores the winning goal, and I'm really happy for him to do that. It gets us through to the next round, obviously, into the draw. But then he has a moment, or 2 moments of madness, really. You got to put it down to. So first off, the goal, like I say, gets us through. So he's got to be happy with his night's work. That both strikers are scoring. So obviously, Slot has looked at it and thought, I've done my bit. I put them both there. They both hit the target. So we're doing okay, aren't we?
Yeah, and that's what you want. And you look at his form at the moment, and I've been saying for weeks, we lose our structure in the way we play when he goes off. And it's kind of worrying in a way, because he's been great. He's been absolutely fantastic since he's been here. And the variety of goals he scored, the quickness in the Community Shield to score the way he did, the goal against Bournemouth, quality finish, the goal at the weekend, to make the run and to hit that, to control it and hit it as quickly as what he did, not only catches the centre half out, but also catches the goalkeeper out. You can't teach that. It's just it's instinctive, and to have that coldness in front of goal is something that we've seen it in parts with Jota, God rest his soul, but not many others have actually stepped up and took that calmness in the number 9 role. Darwin would have either played that straight at Pickford, or he would have blazed it over, or it would have went wide. So there's a numerous varieties of that for that one. And then to score the way he did makes you think that on current form, you're starting against Palace.
Yeah. I think the problem is, obviously, I thought, he's really positive. He seems to have a good attitude. And then I don't know what happened on Tuesday night against Southampton, but the first booking he got, petulance, really. Just, an angry reaction to a decision, and he gets a booking for it, which is a silly booking. But then you look back and you think, okay, he scored the winning goal, gets a silly booking. It's one of them. He'll learn from it. And you think from there, you're okay, aren't you? But then without thinking, he's gone along. I think it was Frimpong. As soon as he'd done it, went over to him and had a word, and it was too late at that point, obviously. But he scores the winning goal, runs away, takes his shirt off, gets another booking, it's a red card. It's like two silly bookings to pick up when at this moment you're the number 1 striker.
Exactly. And it's for me, it's something that I wasn't expecting to see. It's an arrogance. It's about it's a narcissistical kind of way of playing. It's all about me. But I agree with what Arna's done. I agree with him being fined 2 weeks' wages, which is being reported as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
You're at a club where the ethos is totally the opposite of that, especially with what this club's gone through since Jota's passed away. It's more of a family, communal kind of club, and we're all in it together. Whatever he's doing or whatever he is thinking, he needs to get that French arrogance out of his head, that it's all me, and start thinking it's all about we, because it's petulant. It's not what I expect, but at the same time, I kind of knew when he got his first yellow, I thought he was going to get another one. And I don't know why I thought that, but I thought he'll somehow get suspended for the Palace game. And I thought that in my head already when he got his first booking. And I don't know why I thought that, but I did. I have no credence or analyst as to why I thought that. I just did. I just thought there's something about the way he's playing. I just think he's going to get another booking tonight. But I thought, no, you're just being stupid. And then when he does what he does, and you just think, are you? Look, the maddest thing is that, a home debut for other number 9, he headbutted someone. So if he would have done that, what he did, everyone would be on social media kicking off already. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Was he trying to make out as though, I'm here as well? I just don't get what he did, and it's just
I think obviously getting sent off has opened the door now, because we know that Isak is, over him, going to be the number 1 striker. They paid so much money for him that eventually that's what's going to happen. Take it or leave it. It's just the way it is. But to open the door this early on, he's building up his fitness, and to now leave it at the weekend is like, well, he can't play. His next league game is going to be October the 4th, although as far as I know, he can play next week in the Champions League, can't he? Because he'll have served his ban anyway. So different competition. So he misses 1 game. Fair enough. It might not seem like a lot, but while missing that game, Isak could come on and score 2 goals and be like, right, I've played 75 minutes, and he's building up all the time. And then that pushes him a little bit further down the pecking order, because it's like, well, the game after that, they'll go, well, we'll put Isak in because he's now getting fit, etc. So he's done it to himself. And like I say, it was stupid. And again, if the reports of 2-week wages fine as well, that's going to cost him in his pocket. And I just hope, he's a young lad. I hope he learns from it and just realizes very quickly that, okay, that's not the done thing. and then hopefully he's going to
Well,
move forward and be a bit more sensible.
The mad thing is, he's holding up his number 22 shirt, and I'm thinking, okay, right, so is that in reference to Calvin Ramsey who wore it, Loris Karius, Lonergan, Mingale, Danny Wilson, Insua, Carson, Sissoko, Kirkland, Titi Kamara, Tony Warner,
Do you know
Steve
what?
Harkness, Jamie Carragher. Wait, who was he holding up for? Do you know what I mean? Because
I noticed then as you were reading them names, like you didn't even have to look at a list, did you? You knew them off the top of your head.
I did have a list. But it's
I don't know what it was for, but he just decided to spur the moment to do it.
I don't know. Is it a reference to Isak being there and going, well, I'm here as well? But as Slot said, it's not like he's done a Messi or a Ronaldo or a Ronaldinho. Picked the ball up and has gone, or done a Georgia Weah back in the day for AC Milan, who ran from one edge of the pitch right to the other end and scored. He's put it into an empty net, albeit he has to be in that position. And well done for being in the position to put it in. That's all you did. You didn't do nothing else. So, and let's have it right. It's not like it's a goal that's going to send us to Wembley to get to the final.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's against a bog standard Southampton team struggling in the Championship on a cold Tuesday night when people have got better things to do than watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy and it baffles me. But it's the good thing about it is that it's been. He's even admitted, he was stupid and all like that, which fair enough, granted. But you've put this club in a difficult situation of going into a big game on Saturday, which at the end of the day, let's have it right, that was more the game against Palace is more important than the game against Southampton, in my eyes. So you've put ourselves in a position that we didn't have to be in. And it now makes us having to revert and look at that. And as you say, if Isak scores 1 or 2 and we win the game, then that means then he goes down the pecking order as starting for the next game because of his impatience. So you've got to be forward thinking when things happen. And although you don't agree with the discipline that has been given to you by the referee, you've got to understand that you can't do nothing else, and you've got to restrict yourself in what you can and can't do. Doing that, it's just. But then I look at it the other way as well, and it's not because it happened to him, but it starts me here thinking, well, what's the big thing about a player taking his shirt off? Why does that have to be a yellow card?
I know.
Emotion.
I've had this discussion. I don't like that.
It baffles me, and I'm not saying it because it's a Liverpool player, but I'm saying in general, why is it that we take the emotion of an emotionally charged game, of which your emotions will overspill, we lose and players will lose themselves in certain games because there will be big games in which a last minute winner is just going to cause, will make you do that. I just don't get what the big thing is as to why you can't take your shirt off. Maybe someone could tell me, but it's until that rule changes, we'll always have this niggling thing as to why a goal celebration. It's not as if he's doing anything else, is it? Do you know what I mean?
No, this is it. I don't agree with the rule myself, but it's there, and he knew it was there before he did it. That's
exactly
the problem.
The law's there. He knows what happens. So him doing what he did, and he should have known he was on a yellow card. Honestly, I don't know. It's just. I think it's more frustrating than anything else. It's not that I'm angry at him. It's just the stupidity of it all. From his petulance at the start, and then him doing that. It's just, come on, you're a young lad, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but come on, show a little bit of discipline, please.
Well, after getting a rollicking, having to apologise publicly and probably getting a 2-week fine for it. I hope he's learnt his lesson and he curbs his attitude, but we shall see.
You're listening to the LFC Total Red Football Podcast.
Two things I just quickly want to mention before we round up tonight. First one, young lad, Rio Ngumoha, 17 years old, signed his first professional contract. According to Paul Joyce, I think it's a 3-year deal.
Yeah, 3-year deal. Yeah.
Which are you surprised at that? He's only 17, so why not tie him down longer? Why only 3 years? Or is it just to see if he keeps developing?
I think it's to do with his first contract. It can't be a long one. I think it can only be a 2 or 3 year. I may be wrong with that, but I think it's to do with your first one. You can't actually have it has to be a short-term one in a sense. That's the reason why. That being said, the fumes with Chelsea, because that lad's going to go places, honestly. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's got the pace, he's getting the confidence. I'd like to see that confidence in the Champions League game. Although I understand why he was slightly sensitive against our Atletico Madrid side, but he's got everything, and keeps his feet on the floor, keeps doing what he's doing, not putting too much pressure on him. Come on, be progressive with the ball, do what you are down to do, and you'll be a whale beater. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, I do. He definitely has the confidence. You can see that when he's running at players. When we first see him, he scored the composure at Newcastle to score that winning goal. The other night against Southampton, when he's taking players on, he's confident, that he's going to go past them. Great attributes to have. And I just hope at such a young age, one, no injuries happen. Like we were talking about Leoni, obviously, earlier. I hope that he stays free of injuries while he can. And that way, it just lets him grow naturally as a young player, come into the game a little bit at a time, and then gradually, hopefully for him, cement a spot if he's that good. And then he can extend his contract from there. But, 3-year deal, he's laughing now. At the end of the day, he's kind of made it at Liverpool. They wanted him, they headhunted him, but, from Chelsea, because they realised he was such a good talent. So hopefully that proves to be right.
It was that bad with Chelsea that for a period of time Liverpool coaches were not allowed at academy games at Chelsea. That's how bad it got.
Wow.
And that's how much frustrated they were with them. But the problem you got with Chelsea is that they are good with the youth academy of selling them on. I think what he saw with Liverpool was the year when we won the League Cup against them with the young players. He actually saw a path that allowed you to play and allowed you to get through. So well done on our academy and our scouting within there, and Alexander Isak as well, bringing a quality player in to add to our academy. And he's just grown, and he's developed, and he's been given his opportunities. No bigger than the game against Newcastle, and he scores the winner.
Yeah,
happy to be there, going absolutely ballistic, even though I didn't know I was going to get home because our coach broke down on the way to the game. But for that, for that minute, and the way he took the goal, and only when I saw it back, and you just think, wow. And you got players who are in that starting 11 saying to him, I would have took a touch. That tells you the quality he's got, and he's going to grow and grow and grow. His pathway will be down to him, and how much of that pathway will be down to him as well. So he's just got to keep progressing the way he is, and there's no need to build it up. He's doing really well in what he's doing. Carry on doing what you're doing, and just be a little bit more confident. Look up a little bit more. Work on your final. It's all right getting to the touchline, but then what are you going to do with the ball? It's that final. But that will all come with, and there's always room for improvement. And once he starts getting down into his game, he took a lot of hits against Southampton during the week that, a lot of people would have, but he shook himself down and just carried on and getting on and routinely got through it. I like the way he's kind of got a relationship with Ekitike as well. He looks up to him in a way, and Robbo's looking after him as well. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of support there for him, and they'll know what the ability he's got. You know what I mean? So playing against him in training won't be bad enough anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be mad in a training game, and you got him on one side, Isak in the middle, and Ekitike as well. You're just thinking, or Mo as well, and you're thinking, what do we do here? But it's good. So it's down to him. I'm made up for the lad. I know that within 2 or 3 years we'll be giving him a long-term contract, and he'll be on. He'll start getting decent money. But I see him going a long way. I'm glad he's one of ours.
Yeah, very much so. Just finally and quickly, we want to talk about the weekend. Early start for you, very early start for you. A trip down to Crystal Palace. So how do you see the lads getting on there? Obviously, we've discussed, Ekitike is not going to make it, so Isak's probably going to play maybe a little bit longer. Keza might get a bit more of an opportunity. So how do you see that game going?
I see it being a difficult game. It's always difficult down at Selhurst Park, and Palace are a good side under Glasner. Glasner's got them playing decent football. They're very good defensively. They've got a good midfield, especially with Adam Wharton, who I quite like, and Mateta up front, who I also like as well. I think he has a physical look about him and a demeanour of him that he'd be hard to defend against. So we are going to be up against it. Glad it's not a 12:30 kickoff, because God knows what time I'll be leaving Liverpool to get up to the match. But I'm looking forward to the game. I expect us to come away with the win. I think. Okay. Although it is going to be a difficult game, and I expect it to be close as well. I think it may only be a 1-0 win as well. But there's no reason why I can't see anything other than a Liverpool win at the minute. The way we're playing, so no, it will be tough. It's a tough test, and I think that's what part of the frustration with the Ekitike thing is, that it's already a tough test without adding to it ourselves with indiscipline. So that's the reason why I'm made up the way our managers come out and dealt with it. To be honest, but we've got to be up for the test. The players that we've been able to give a rest, I don't think Palace will have that kind of luxury. Whether they're playing in the League Cup or the Europa this week, I don't know. But at the same point, it's a game that we should get through. It'll be good to see Gay up close and personal to see how he copes with certain players. So it gives you a little bit of a scouting report to do as well. So,
are you going to indulge us with a score that you think then, a prediction?
1-0. I said 1-0, didn't I? So 1-0 it'll be. It'll be a tight game. I don't expect us to. I'd love us to have a field day and we win 3-1, but I see it being a tough test and us coming away and gauging a 1-0 win. How about yourself?
I'm gonna say it's still tight, but I'm gonna say 2-1. I just, the way the defense has been, I expect them to score. Mateta is a handful for them, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I do feel maybe Isak. I'm not really sure, actually. After that, maybe Wirtz might get his first goal. That'd be nice. So,
that would be great.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you see Wirtz and Isak score their first goals in a week, Kev, you'll be doing all right. So. I won't be jealous at all. But yeah, hopefully we come away with the 3 points. It was good last week that obviously City and Arsenal drew 1-1, which left Liverpool with a bigger gap.
Yeah.
Because they'd beaten the Blue Noses, so we were happy about that. I know you were happy because you said you'd be disappointed otherwise if it lost, and they didn't let you down. So, so hopefully we get the 3 points. We'll have a good weekend, and I really hope you have a safe trip there and back.
Thank you, Kings. I'll be honest, it would be nice to put pressure on Arsenal and be 9 points clear, I think, before they play. So it kind of then puts pressure on the table then already. Yeah. This early on, and last week they must have been frustrated not getting the win against Man City, and the mentality of celebrating an equaliser when every one of their fans said, well, Liverpool would have just picked the ball up and gone down and put the ball down on the spot and gone again and tried to win the game. But, you know, it's the mentality. But hopefully we're both right, Kings, and, you know, I'll be happy with the 2-1 as well.
Well, on that note, we have come to the end of the show, Kev. So I want to say massive thanks to Kev for joining us tonight on the LFC Total Red Football Podcast. It's been a pleasure chatting, and hopefully you've enjoyed listening. As I always say, you can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok, or you can listen to the audio version, obviously on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. So please like, subscribe, and follow us. Look out on social media for our next episodes next week. And until then, have a good week, everybody. And thank you very much for tuning in.